So I have already talked about point of view, but now I want to specifically talk about animals. As you all know, I like to write from a dog's point of view, and that's a subject I'm very, very familiar with. In fact, all of the examples that I use in my website that you may have seen are all about dogs. But maybe you're going to write from a cat's point of view, or a bird's, or a hamster, or a bunny, or any kind of animal. Here are some tips to try to get yourself to shift your perspective from your own perspective to that animal's perspective. First thing, research. Do some research. Get some books from the library about that type of animal, or if it's a dog, the type of breed of that dog. Do some research on what is that animal's life like? How do they learn about the world? What are their strengths? Like dogs. Dogs learn about the world by their sense of smell. A lot of other animals do that too. Bats navigate using echolocation, for example. So there are lots and lots of facts that you can learn about your animal from reading nonfiction books. So take notes. Write notes in your writer's notebook about the 5 senses of your animal and how they use them, about the animal's lifestyle. Where does the animal live if it's living in the wild? And if it's in the home, research how would a hamster live in a home? What sort of food does a hamster eat? All those kinds of things. Second, come up with a list of things that would be part of that animal's life. If your animal lives in the woods, think about a den that they might live in, or a hole that they might live in, a nest, where would they build their nest? All of those kinds of things. How does the animal take care of its young? What kind of predators might be scary to that animal? What does the animal eat? So think about all of those things. If it's a pet animal, where would the animal live in the home? In a cage? Or if it's a dog or a cat, what sort of things would be interesting? A ball of yarn might be interesting to a cat, right? A bone might be interesting to a dog. So make lots and lots of lists. If that character goes somewhere, like if a dog takes a walk, if a cat has to go to the vet, all of those kinds of things, make lists of things that would be in that character's world. Then ask yourself questions about those things. Whether it's a ball of yarn, whether it is the bone, whether it's a nest, whether it's a tree in the woods, whatever it is, and try to think about that thing, not the way that you think about it, but how would your animal character think about it? If a cat sees a ball of yarn, they might not realize that it's something that humans use to knit or crochet and make sweaters and scarves and socks out of. They might think it's a toy. It's something fun to bat around with their paws and to play with. And if the string unravels, that might make it even more fun. So think about it. If your main character is a mouse, they might see a piece of wood as something to gnaw on, not as a piece of wood. Maybe it's the banister on your stairs, or the baseboard on the wall. They might think it's a great thing to chew because mice need to gnaw down their big front teeth. So think about all of those different things in your animal's life that they would experience in a way different from the way you, a human, would. And start to do that, because the more you do it, the more you will be able to shift your perspective into your animal's perspective. And then the third tip that I would give you is to think about a typical scene. It doesn't have to be an interesting scene like with a fight or with a surprise. It could just be a regular old day. If your animal is a bird, do they wake up in their nest? What do they do? Do they look for breakfast? Think about what they go about in their day. And then maybe take a phone or an iPad and record yourself talking through the scene. Flying away to look for worms in the grass, or, maybe playing with your siblings if you're a bird, all the things you would do, and then play it back. Listen to that audio file with your eyes closed, and try to imagine that you are that animal going through your day. Try to note what it feels like, what you would think, what you would wonder about. think about those five senses again. What kinds of things would you see in your day? What would you hear? What would you smell, taste, touch? All of those details will help you get into that character's point of view. After you finish doing that, write in your writer's notebook. Don't worry about making complete sentences or paragraphs. Just write down ideas. Say lots of things that you would see, that you would hear, things that you wondered about, things that you thought about. Maybe if there is a predator in your world, like if you're a mouse living in the wild, is there a hawk or an owl in your forest where you live? You know, are you afraid? Do you notice when a shadow comes over you that might mean a bird is overhead? All those details are going to help you get into your animal's point of view. I did this for weeks before I wrote Fenway and Hattie, so you can do it too. Have fun with it. It's really, really fun. Your imagination is so powerful, so give it a try.